Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between mountains and rivers, there lived a man named Elias. Elias was not like the other villagers. While others worried about money, fame, and what their neighbors thought of them, Elias seemed untouched by these concerns. He lived simply, in a small house with a garden, and spent his days reading, walking, and talking with those who sought his advice. Many wondered how he remained so calm in a world full of troubles. The secret, he would say, was the art of practicing indifference. Elias had not always been this way. In his younger years he had been like everyone else, chasing after wealth, seeking approval, and fearing loss. But one day, after a series of disappointments, he met an old traveler who shared with him the teachings of the ancient Stoics. The traveler spoke of a philosophy that taught how to free oneself from the control of external things. Most suffering, the traveler said, comes not from events themselves, but from our judgments about them. These words stayed with Elias, and he began to study the wisdom of indifference. The first lesson Elias learned was that not everything is within our control. The weather, the opinions of others, even the actions of those close to us, these things are outside our power. Trying to change them only leads to frustration. Instead, Elias focused on what he could control: his own thoughts, his choices, and his reactions. When a storm destroyed part of his garden, he did not curse the skies. He simply planted new seeds. When people spoke ill of him, he did not argue. He knew their words were not his to command. The second lesson was the difference between what is truly good or bad and what is merely indifferent. Wealth, fame, health, these things are neither good nor bad in themselves. They only gain meaning based on how we use them. A rich man can be miserable if he clings to his money, while a poor man can be content if he values what he has. Elias saw that by labeling things as good or bad, people gave them power over their happiness. He chose instead to see them as indifferent, tools to be used wisely or ignored. The villagers noticed the change in Elias. When others panicked over rumors of war, he remained steady. When drought came and food was scarce, he shared what little he had without complaint. Some called him foolish, but others began to seek his guidance. One such person was a young woman named Livia, who was heartbroken after her betrothed left her for another. She came to Elias in tears, asking how she could bear the pain. Elias listened quietly, then asked her a simple question: "Is it the loss that hurts you, or the story you tell yourself about it?" Livia did not understand at first, so Elias explained. "You tell yourself that you are ruined, that love is lost forever, that you will never be happy again. But these are just thoughts. The event itself is just an event. It is your judgment that turns it into suffering." Livia thought about this. Slowly, she began to question her own reactions. She realized that her pain came not from the man leaving, but from her belief that she needed him to be happy. As time passed, Livia practiced indifference. She allowed herself to feel sorrow, but she did not let it consume her. She focused on what she could control: her work, her friendships, her own mind. One day, she returned to Elias with a smile. "I am not happy because my life is perfect," she said. "I am happy because I no longer demand perfection." Elias nodded. She had understood. The years went by, and the village faced many hardships. Famine, storms, even invasions. Each crisis tested the people. Those who clung tightly to their desires suffered the most. But those who, like Elias, practiced indifference found a quiet strength. They did not become heartless. They still cared for others, still worked to improve their lives, but they did not let fear or anger rule them. One winter, Elias fell ill. The villagers gathered, fearing the loss of their wise friend. But Elias was calm. "Death is another indifferent thing," he told them. "It is not good or bad. It simply is." When he passed, there was sadness, but also gratitude. He had shown them a way to live without being slaves to their own minds. To this day, the villagers remember Elias and his teachings. They tell his story to their children, not as a tale of a man who had no feelings, but of a man who chose not to be ruled by them. The art of indifference, they learned, was not about ignoring life, but about seeing it clearly. It was about recognizing what matters and what does not. And in that recognition, they found freedom. The story of Elias is a reminder for all of us. The world will always bring challenges. People will disappoint us. Plans will fail. But suffering is optional. By practicing indifference, by focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we cannot, we can find peace. Not because the world changes, but because we do. So the next time you face hardship, ask yourself, is this thing truly bad? Or have I decided it is? Can I change it, or must I accept it? And if I must accept it, how can I do so without letting it break me? The answers may not come easily. But like Elias, with time and practice, you too can master the art of indifference. And in that mastery, you will find a life not free from pain, but free from unnecessary suffering. A life lived with wisdom, with strength, and above all with peace.